Many thanks for joining us on this edition of the program, People, Politics in Power. I am Imoni Amarere. We sincerely apologize for bringing this program to you a few minutes behind the scheduled time, because this is as a result of some technical difficulties which we are trying to overcome. Now to our focus of the day. Barring any unlikely last-minute changes, the much-anticipated National Convention of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, will hold in the nation's capital, Abuja, on Saturday, February 26, 2022, where exactly 2 weeks from today. That same day, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, will be conducting by-elections in at least 6 constituencies across the country. This coincidence in date has been the subject of some concern and speculations, given that the electoral body must pay equal attention to both events. But be that as it may, the party has formally notified the Electoral Commission of its convention as required by law. Against the backdrop of the wranglings and rumblings in many state chapters of the party, the much-awaited convention may not pass as a tea party. The intractable crisis in more than at least 10 of its state chapters may prove a very hard nut to crack and could constitute a huge spanner in the works of the party's desire to retain power in many states and at the federal level before and during the 2023 elections. The outcome of the just conducted Federal Capital Territory Area Council election, where the party lost the strategic municipal council to the opposition PDP, may just be a signal to the ruling party of what to expect in the months to come, except, of course, it is able to mend its broken fences and seal its leaking roof at the convention and thereafter. The sale of forms for contestable positions at the convention is expected to have commenced today, even as the party is yet to agree or specify its zoning and power sharing arrangements. The question is the party leaving all positions open for contest by any aspiring member of the party? Is it afraid of zoning, or has it secretly zoned and reached some kind of consensus on who and which zone takes particular positions without the popular participation of delegates that will attend the convention? There's also talk of attempts by governors, that is, governors elected on the platform of the party, and some other interest groups to hijack the party, using the National Convention as a staging post. Now, how real is this? Apart from electing a new national leadership to steer the affairs of the party towards winning the next general elections and hopefully stabilize its rocky ship, the Mai Mala Buni-led Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee is also proposing some amendments to the party's constitution. And in accordance with Article 30, subsection 3 of the party's constitution, it has notified its members of the planned changes to the over 7-year-old document that was adopted in 2014. The proposed amendments include a change of nomenclature for its Board of Trustees, BOT, to National Advisory Council, NAC, the creation of zonal congresses, clearer definition of the powers and functions of its National Executive Committee, NEC, and its National Working Committee, NWC, the expansion of platforms for the participation of critical groups such as women, youths, and persons with disabilities, and the creation of new organs for a more efficient administration and the provision for clearer accountability by organs of the party. But perhaps the proposed amendment that would prove very controversial will be that which seeks to bar senators and members of the House of Representatives from voting at presidential primaries. Some political observers say these steps may help mend the big cracks in the walls of the party, but could also widen the fundamental divisions amongst the disparate groups and forces that make up the coalition, and of course, further pull them more apart, depending on which group gains the upper hand at the end of the convention. But how healthy are these developments for the growth of Nigeria's democracy and party politics particularly? Is the ruling party's flip-flop in the last 7 years a reflection of weak leadership in the party, especially by its national leader, and that's talking about the president? How will the constitutional changes impact its conduct or in conflict resolution mechanisms moving forward? And how will the outcomes of the convention likely swing the direction that the party's presidential ticket goes in 2023? Well, join us as we dive under and above the radar to unravel the critical issues that are thrown up by this convention. In a moment, when we return from this break, we shall meet our guest, a former senator of the Federal Republic and a chieftain of the APC. Stay with us. All right, let's get to meet our guest who's joining us via Zoom. He is Senator Abubakar Umar Gada. Senator Gada is a politician. He represented Sokoto East Senatorial District in the 7th National Assembly. He was vice chairman of the Senate Committee on Downstream Petroleum in the 7th National Assembly. And he is the co-convener of the recently launched National Interest Forum. Senator Abubakar Umar Gada, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Musa Amarare. Thank you for having me this afternoon.
Great. Now, so let's begin by taking a look at the National Interest Forum, of which you are co-convener. It was launched only recently. Now, what is the National Interest Forum all about?
The National Interest Forum is all about Nigeria first. You must have a country first before you belong to any other geopolitical zone of that sovereignty. So Nigeria as a nation must be preserved and effectively, be committed to, such so that we can, at the end of the day, have a country that belongs to all of us, and then you can now decide to be a northerner, a southerner, or even a Nigerian. But there must be Nigeria first in every single situation. Nigeria first. That is the idea of Nigeria first national interest group. Because this country deserves this level of loyalty and sense of national obligation. So we mobilize like minds all over the country to come to say, look, we must have Nigerians' interests well protected, well preserved, so that we have a platform on which we can aspire as citizens, as human beings, as Nigerians, to go to advance the nation and into a more prosperous future. Any arrangement that does not take Nigerian interests first and foremost will end up jeopardizing the national cohesion, the national unity, and overall national development in terms of collective participation in handling national matters. So that's why National Interest Group is on profound footing of nationhood, nation building, and evolutionary mechanisms of Nigerian state.
The same way, Senator, some Nigerians will say that some of the things that you speak about and which you spoke very eloquently about at the launch of this forum, such as lack of trust, lack of unity, misunderstanding, and personal and sectional interests, have been with Nigeria and with Nigerians for a very long time. Why did you and your co-convener choose this time to launch the National Interest Forum at a time when, as it were, Nigerians are already beginning to look towards the 2023 elections? Does it have any political motives?
Mr. Amarare, nation building is all about managing conflicts and contradictions. Nation building or national unity is all about being fair to all and sundry in appreciating people's position and the right to take positions on any matter. So where these opinion positions, stands contradictory, it is the responsibility of a body like National Interest Group to come together, look at what is common to all, and then what is peculiar to some. And then we go for what is common to all and emphasize it, strengthen it, and then take advantage of that so that those things that are common to all of us in terms of preservation as a nation will now be taken precedence over and above any other extreme situation of disagreement and misunderstanding. If we believe that this is a nation that has everything for us, that we stand to achieve whatever we want to achieve, either as individuals or groups, managing such conflicts, I can assure you, will be a matter of routines. And then what Nigeria will see, will witness steady, but surely, a movement towards prosperity. That is what is so. Managing conflict is a challenge, and we have to do it. And in the last 60s, from independence to date, all Nigerians, Nigerian leadership have passed through different turmoils and challenges, all about what? About managing leadership, managing contradictions. The more a particular leadership is able to understand the reality of conflicts and conflict resolutions, the more the nation becomes stable. And that is why those of us on whom Nigeria has invested so heavily for us to have grown to where we are today, we must do our best to give back to the nation so that the future generation will benefit and be proud of what they will have made on ground from their forefathers and our predecessors. This is the situation. So we have this challenge. We are conversant with how complex it is. We are ready for it. We can surmount it, and ultimately we will succeed as a nation, inshallah.
Does membership of this forum cut across party lines? Is it a multi-party forum, a stage for achieving what you want to achieve?
So National Interest Forum that see Nigeria first is particularly is anybody who believes in this in Nigerian sovereignty, who believe in Nigerian state, who believe in Nigerian nation, regardless. These are people who are looking for men and women, old and young, particularly women and youth, to come together and then have the orientation and have in their subconsciousness a sense of nationalism, patriotism, and loyalty to the Nigerian state. So that wherever your interest conflicts with the that of Nigerian interest will take precedence. Any citizens who will not allow Nigerian interest to prevail over and above his personal, parochial, sectional, or personal interest, then we look at that one becomes as a baggage to the nation and nationhood. So that's why we have to reach out to the sensibilities, sensitivities, and the consciousness of individuals to be able to tell them clearly in practical terms, these are where we are, this is where we come from. We have come a long way, and then the greater future is even longer. And then whatever we want to achieve as individuals, you achieve better results in group. Whatever you want to achieve as a section of the nation, you will achieve better results when it is a united nation. That is where we are, and that's what we will continue to look at all those interests, all those citizens, particularly the youth, to have that orientation that Nigeria first in whatever we do, so that together we rise above the challenges we are confronted with.
The NIF says it's going to be organizing town hall meetings in order to sensitize Nigerians on the goals of the organization and of nation building. How soon are these town hall meetings likely to start, and what would be the message the NIF will be carrying to these town hall meetings in different parts of the country?
Yeah, we are trying to establish the structures from the unit, the smallest unit level, that's at the polling booth level, to ward level, to local government, to state, to zones, and then to the national structures. These structures will now be so solidly established so that we have top to bottom and bottom up communications, such that at once it will be like a wildfire. Whenever an issue becomes, it becomes a very hot issue for everybody to key into it, participate actively, and then make the best out of it, and for whose benefit? For the Nigerian state. So we are building the structures, Mr. Amarare, and for those who have not had or have not been reached, I can assure them to take it as for sure that we are reaching everybody in this country at whatever strata of the societal hierarchy, so that together all of us will achieve this no exclusivity. We need an inclusive structure that gives us the orientation of nationalism, a nationalism that is second to none in terms of orientation. It's a nationalism that can, citizens will freely put on everything on the line in order for this country to live united and prosperous. Prosperity is guaranteed as long as stability, is achieved. And the only way we can achieve stability is by respecting every contending views and interests, managing every conflict that is on the path of this nation building and evolution. We thank God Almighty for even under the challenges we are still confident and hopeful that tomorrow is a better day, inshallah.
Now, for purposes of clarity, Senator, how do you respond to those who insinuate that the NIF is just another political platform in the making?
You see, there are in every situation, you may have doomsday analysts, we may have the people who lack confidence in themselves, and the people who are inherently mischievous. So whatever they see, rather than looking at the positive aspect of it, their mind automatically go to the negative side of that. So this sadistic tendency or pessimism is common. I mean, it's something that we also have to deal with, so that the pessimism of the pessimist will not in any way jeopardize or hinder the optimisms of the optimist. We have to manage them together and then transform the pessimist into optimist. And this is some of the challenges that we who believe in Nigeria first have put upon ourselves, an obligation to achieve the results and ensure that everybody understand, at least the greater majority should understand that we must have a nation that is stable before we think of prosperity.
Yeah.
Nigeria has everything to prosper. We as citizens, we have everything to believe in ourselves. And then north and south, west and east, we are all but one. We have common tendency, common aspirations, and then common reactions to situations. So it is not difficult for us to harmonize all those, the conflicting realities just for a nation to prosper. No, there is no society without conflict. Conflict is indeed a cardinal reality in anywhere ever you have human beings together. So we don't see it as essentially a problem, but we see it as such a challenge which we can surmount. So we are surmounting, inshallah.
All right. Distinguished Senator, let's talk a little bit about the National Convention of your party, the APC. Now, when the extraordinary committee, that is the caretaker and extraordinary convention committee, was set up, led by Mala Buni, his major mandate at the time was to reconcile all aggrieved parties within the political party and ensure that they reposition the party and put it on the right course. This today is exactly 2 weeks to the National Convention of the party. Do you think that the CEPC has achieved that mandate that was given to it initially? Is the party less crisis prone today? Is it more united today? Is it going to the National Convention a more united body than it was, let's say, a month ago? Because as we speak, there are still a number of states where some members of the party still do not see eye to eye.
Yeah, Mr. Amara, it's true, but you are also a living example that the present leadership of the caretaker and extraordinary planning and convention committee, they have made a record in history. They made a party more fragmented. As of today, the party is tremendously, united in terms of
Distinguished Senator, are you still with us?
So, has exhibited uncommon ability to tackle the situations of our APC as a party. The greater majority of our members across all strata, across all levels, of today, united and ready to give in their best to make the Nigerian APC continuously, a ruling party. So kudos to my Malamuni led the caretaker committee, and kudos to party members who willingly and committedly cooperate all along with the aspirations, mandate, and the strategies adopted by the caretaker committee to achieve and reduce the barest minimum rancors and conflicts within the party family. And you are, like I said earlier, a living witness to all this. You have an isolated cases here and there. It's normal. You can't escape that because you are dealing with human emotions. Or this isolated case will not will not affect the integrity of what has so far been achieved, and then the integrity also what is put in place to be achieved comes convention day and beyond. So I congratulate my Malambuni for having achieved this feat, and indeed all other members of the caretaker extraordinary planning and convention committee. Of course, this couldn't have happened without the larger cooperation from the stakeholders across the country, who always believe in the party and always, on the greater number, do only those things that will promote the quality of the party dominance in at all levels in our political landscape. So,
Senator, one of the fears that is being expressed,
conscious, to what is required to make this party the best platform for Nigeria to achieve prosperity through stability.
Yeah, distinguished Senator, one of the fears that has been expressed in recent times about the holding of this convention is the fact that there are rumors that certain interest groups, certain individuals, particularly governors elected on the platform of the party, are planning to hijack the reins of power of the party using the National Convention to stage that purpose. And you, as an individual, you have been quoted somewhere else recently as saying that nobody and no group can hijack the party. Do you sincerely believe that?
Yeah, no group can hijack the party. I gave an inference at that time. I say even the opposition party that is battling to recover its souls, can hardly be said to be hijacked by any single individual, let alone a ruling party that has 22 state governors in the government houses of the federation, and you have a sitting president. So, and we have all organs of party, as enshrined in the constitution. No single individual, and I repeat, no single individual can come, no matter what you think or who you think, can come just and then undermine the corporate unity of the party and the corporate participatory orientation of the party and singularly divert the party in his own direction. We have a party structure that can resist that, and we have a sitting president that is conscious of ensuring and leaving behind a legacy of a party better than the way he met it. This is the president that I am confident, and indeed you and I will also have no problems in believing in this confidence that APC will be put together better and left behind by the president and for the future generation of this country.
As it were, Senator, 2 weeks to the convention, there's still a lot of confusion, for lack of a better word. As of today, there is still no zoning arrangement on ground. So those who are contesting or those who will be picking up nomination forms from the National Secretary of the party beginning today, I get to know what they will be running for, because there are no zoning arrangement on ground.
No, you should know that convention is a process. It's a process, not an event. And the processes started right from the registration of party membership to all the congresses we have recorded successfully, world congresses, local government congresses, state congresses. These are processes that are geared towards, eventually culminating into national convention. So we are at the terminal end. All other processes have been successfully, achieved. And then we have a timetable ruled out, and we have timeline, and we are trying, and you can see clearly what is on the timeline is also being religiously being followed. So, bearing any things that you and I cannot share, because only God knows tomorrow, we are home and dry with the activities and the processes that will guarantee a very, very successful convention that will be the envy of all other, political parties around the world, not just Nigerians opposition, that we are trying to bring on board so that they abandon what I think is a project that may not work for them, so that together we build this country together and as a people.
One very important item that will be on the agenda at the convention is a constitutional amendment. And the Secretary of the CECPC has in fact confirmed that yes, there are proposals for amendments to the constitution of the party, the more than 7-year-old constitution of the party. And one of such amendments is the proposal to reduce the number of delegates that would be electing or selecting the presidential candidates of the party. For instance, the proposal seeks to eliminate or remove from the list members of the Senate, members of the House of Representatives except their principal officers, and members of state houses of assembly except their principal officers, and perhaps too former legislators who were elected on the platform of the party. Now, how do you think that will pan out at the convention? Do you think that that makes for a better democratic practice?
Yeah, Mr. Amara, a good thing that you have said proposal. Proposal, a committee of competence, capability, of competence was inaugurated to look into the constitution of the party. Don't forget that the APC constitution was an amalgamation of the legacy parties that came together and formed legacy parties and form what we have today as a APC constitution. So we need to refine it and bring it, standardize it, such that areas where it becomes like a baggage or difficult to operate, are being looked into logically and realistically, to be able to put a document that is workable, a document that will be the pride of the future members of the party. So don't forget the parliamentarians by the constitution of the party at the extent law as of today. From 1960, from independence to date, any parliamentarian from the First Republic to where we are today, Ninth Republic, that is a member of APC, is a member of is a delegate to the convention. So we have the growing other components and other segments of the society who must be fully put on board, maybe increase their number by way of relaxing some stringent conditions that restrict those membership. Youth must have an elaborate participation. Women must have an elaborate participation. The physically challenged brothers and sisters we have, there must be a provision to protect them and then bring them on board so that they can psychologically and otherwise feel proud of themselves and then display their God-given talents. This is only when you adjust the dominance of one component at the detriment of other components that you have a stable and standardized or unified participation of all and sundry, such that where the number may be large, then the signs of a restrictive participation may be applied. But mark you, what we have on ground is a proposal, and this proposal is still subject to what? Other stages of approval. At least we have convention waiting for the proposal. So any group or group of individuals or whatever, however they are called, feel otherwise about what is on ground because it's a public document. Everybody is entitled to see what is there, and then they must see it and then build their agitation and build their resistance, or as the case may be, to be able to harmonize all those extreme reactions and disapproval or disagreements, so that by the time we go to convention, everything will have been streamlined for easy passage. In the unlikely event that there is still resistance, there are still areas where people, particularly parliamentarians, are strongly, having their reservation about, they can reverse it at the convention, and any proposal that is inimical or injurious to the parliament, having been elected through the normal traditional party politics, having enjoying the sovereign privilege of being lawmakers, I mean, it is only logical that no matter the number of such category will only be in the interest of the party. And we hope that these things will be put together and ultimately we have a unified constitution that is acceptable by all and sundry.
Do you envisage a situation, distinguished senator, just before go, do you envisage a situation where the party is likely to adopt the direct primaries for the selection of its presidential candidates after this convention? Because as it were, as at now, the party, a number of individuals have indicated interest in running for or in contesting for the ticket of the party, the presidential ticket of the party.
Unfortunately, Mr. Amare, this last comment or question you ask, I am here. The communication is hindered. I can't hear you. I didn't hear you.
I asked. Can you hear me now, Senator?
And, I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
I think it is set of networks. Oh my God.
Can you hear me now? My question was, do you envisage a situation where the party is likely to adopt the direct primaries in the conduct of the exercise to pick a presidential candidate for the party?
Are you asking whether the different options that are available for application, like the issue of consensus, the issue of indirect and direct? Are you talking about that?
Yes, I'm talking about all three. But do you see a situation where the party could adopt direct primaries in picking its presidential candidate?
Oh my God. You see, if I will make general comments because...
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
At the risk of sounding not properly taking the issues as raised by you because of the audio issues, but since you have mentioned a topic which I can, by way of inference, assume what is likely to be the issue. You see, we are going to convention to elect National Working Committee members of the party. And in so doing, we have options recognized by law, which are proposed if it's signed, it becomes into effect. That consensus, where it is the most convenient option to take, direct, where it becomes the more realistic and legitimate way to do it, and indirect, where also it becomes achievable that by delegates, by electoral college, you can also achieve what the society or what the party members will accept as legitimate and lawful. All these three options are there for the party to look at the peculiarities of different situations and states and even local governments, and sometimes even at unit level, to look at what is the best way. Because while you have participants who refuse to accept consensus, they have the right to demand for other options. And then, since the law recognizes all these options, we will urge and the players, the moderators, to be able to look at all these peculiarities and respect the people of the opinion of the majority in any particular circumstance, so that we have a rancor-free convention, and such thereafter candidates that will emerge from the primaries for elective offices. All these things, once there is commitment and sincerity of purpose on the side of participants, to know that ultimately not all will get what they want. And those who are the arbiters will also understand that they will have their name written in history to do those things that will help the party to prosper and continue to be the envy of all and for the development of this country.
Thank you so much, distinguished Senator Abubakar Umar Gada. We apologize for the technical glitches here and there during the program. But I want to thank you for finding time to join us virtually. Senator Abubakar Umar Gada, politician, former senator of the 7th Senate. He represented Sokoto East in that Senate and was vice chairman, Senate Committee on Downstream Petroleum in the 7th National Assembly. He is the co-convener of the newly launched National Interest Forum. Thank you so much for your time. And for you, our viewers out there, thank you for investing your time with us. Please join us again when we bring you a fresh edition of the program, People, Politics, and Power. Bye for now.